Hello and welcome to the big picture. Ever since the Aam Aadmi Party formed the government in Delhi, first in 2013 and for the second time in early 2015, the party has been in conflict with the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi as well as the centre about its powers. The Delhi High Court, in a judgment yesterday, has categorically ruled that Lieutenant Governor is the administrative head of the national capital and he was not bound to act on the aid and advice of the Chief Minister and his Council of Ministers. While this is a major blow to the Aam Aadmi Party government, which has not only been claiming its powers are not subservient to the Lieutenant Governor, it has also been demanding a full statehood for Delhi. The Delhi High Court judgment has also ruled about various notifications and how those notifications of the Delhi government were illegal. Meanwhile, the Aam Aadmi Party government has approached the Supreme Court seeking a judicial declaration on the boundaries of the constitutional relationship between the Delhi government and the centre in administering the national capital. The hearing on this petition was taken up in the Apex Court today and will continue. Meanwhile, what does the order of the Delhi High Court mean? How much of a setback is it to the Aam Aadmi Party government? What are the implications of this order? We will discuss all this today with Shailaja Chandra, former Chief Secretary Delhi, K.N. Bhatt, Senior Advocate Supreme Court, Somnath Bharti, MLA belonging to the Aam Aadmi Party and a former minister, Prashant Bhushan, Advocate Supreme Court, and Manish Chipper, Chief of Bureau, Indian Express. Welcome to all of you. Mr. Somnath Bharti, now that the High Court has been quite categorical in what is the relationship and also what are the powers of the Lieutenant Governor vis-a-vis the Delhi elected government of Delhi, now what is it that you people have a problem now with, and do you think that this is something which can, a working relationship can now be established?
No, Grishji, first of all, this fight is not vis-a-vis LG and Kejriwal. This loss is not of Aam Aadmi Party. This loss is of Aam Aadmi, the people of Delhi who voted Arvind Kejriwal and Aam Aadmi Party into power. See, we need to clearly understand this. Honorable High Court, we all respect, but we have all the rights to disagree, and that is why we are moving to Supreme Court. Situation which is arisen now in Delhi is possibly can be termed as a constitutional crisis because of the judgment. Honorable High Court has given importance to LG as compared to elected government. This is a fight between elected and selected. Delhi, because of Article 239 AA, is a UT with the legislature. With the legislator. Now, if that is the case, then what would be the CM doing? If LG is all powerful, if LG who comes as an appointee of the centre, if he is all powerful, in that case, the CM becomes subservient to him, the cabinet becomes subservient to him, and then the entire democratic process comes to a halt. Because LG is not LG. LG is the nominee of the centre. So whatever the centre would want, LG will have to implement, and LG has been implementing in Delhi. So this is a direct threat to democracy. This was never a fight of supremacy. This was a fight for democracy to sustain, and democracy is in danger in Delhi because of this judgment. And neither people of Delhi are happy, nor people who believe in democracy, they are happy.
Mr. Bhatt, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
Mr. Is this
yes, I can hear you.
Is this a constitutional crisis?
Absolutely no. It is just telling the obvious. That's all. What has been said by the High Court is telling the obvious. There is nothing new, nothing special about it. The Constitution has always been like this ever since 1992, after 239 AA came into force. It has been like this. There is not changed, and there is no anybody saying that we are elected and therefore we have got no rules and regulation, we are all powerful. It's totally wrong. That is not democracy. Democracy is what is provided in the Constitution. And the Constitution says what is the power of the Lieutenant Governor and what are the powers of the elected government, which is very little as far as Delhi is concerned, and deliberately it was done so. They did not, it was not by an accident. Pondicherry and Delhi are more or less on the same footing, with both are union territories, and like any other union territory, it is to be administered by the Lieutenant Governor, and Lieutenant Governor is not subject to the aid and advice of the cabinet minister, etc. That is not applicable here. So I don't understand what is all this cry about. That the Supreme Court you may go, but I think it is gaining some time and nothing else.
Okay. Shailaja Chandra, you actually worked the system to in a way of, in a manner of speaking. Is this what your sense also was when you were the Chief Secretary? Is that the way it should function, what the High Court has now come out with? Or do you see any loopholes there, any problems?
There used to be, even in my time and in my predecessor's time, little areas of friction. But those areas of friction could be overcome because there was a will both ways. Don't destabilize things. Work in harmony. This was the underlying principle.
You were the Chief Secretary at the time when the government in the center was different and the state government was a different political party.
The NDA government,
the same kind of situation
center,
which we see now.
Exactly, and the NDA government at the center and Sheila Dikshit Congress government at the. I would say that as Chief Secretary, you report to both. And even for police, the Chief Secretary has to be there, present and available, and also, you might say, dealing with the police matters, along with the Home Secretary. Now, I would say, looking at what transpired in those days, it's not as though it was a bed of roses, it was not, but the harmonization was the principle that always seemed to be the most important. Second, it is very unlikely that the central government would like to see Delhi regress. Delhi's importance is so big as the national capital, and that is how, despite there being an NDA government, it was possible to bring privatization of power, it was possible to bring CNG into Delhi, it was possible to bring unit area of tax, it was possible to bring the Cooperative Societies Bill, which completely did away with all those hundreds and thousands of societies which were creating havoc. All these legislative changes and policy changes came because both at the center and in the Delhi government, there was a common goal to get on with it, give the people the kind of redress they need. Second, I would say, area which may seem petty, but it needs to be brought forward. You cannot function without the officers. They may not be, I would say, made of gold or made of silver, but they are your officers. They've been given to you through a process. You will have to use those officers. Now, officers work if they have two things. One is a direct line which tells them how to function. This has to be done, and you're not going to be able to fiddle around and go here and there to get redress because you don't agree. This is government's requirement. Second, they must know that they will have continuity, a certain amount of continuity. If these two things are assured, most officers, IAS, DANIX, whatever, work perfectly well. But the minute they sense some sort of friction, they either go into a shell or worse, they play the system.
That is what you think.
Which is unfortunate. But all I want to say is it is possible to work despite not having the powers. I've worked in two states also. So I know Manipur and Goa, both were full-fledged states. So I know the difference.
Okay. Prashant Bhushan. Prashant, how do you look at this whole thing now? Now, do you think that the stand taken by the Delhi government, has some basis? And it will have some basis when it goes before the Supreme Court challenging this judgment. And as I noted in my introduction, there's already a petition before the Supreme Court on the entire matter.
Well, I think the Delhi High Court has stated the constitutional and legal position. There are provisions in the Constitution dealing with the case of Delhi. There is an act which has been passed pursuant to those provisions of the Constitution, and there are rules made under the act. the Delhi High Court has merely and correctly interpreted the constitutional provisions, the law, as well as the rules and regulations. And they clearly provide that so far as lawmaking is concerned, most of the lawmaking powers of the Delhi government would be subject to approval of the LG, which means the approval of the central government. Secondly, that the civil service officers which belong to Delhi, which are posted in Delhi, would be posted and transferred by the central government, because this Delhi continues to remain a union territory. Thirdly, that the power to issue commissions of inquiry, etc., would also be subject to the approval of the LG. That's the current constitutional position. Mr. Bhatt has correctly said that AAP may choose to go to the Supreme Court, but nothing is likely to come out of it. The Supreme Court is going to reiterate or likely to reiterate what the Delhi High Court has said. But having said that, there was a case, and there was a fair and reasonable case for giving further powers to the elected Assembly of Delhi for sort of making Delhi more of a state than a union territory by restricting certain powers relating to appointment of relating to this police, land, etc. But most of the rest of the powers could have been given to the state of Delhi. Unfortunately, Arvind Kejriwal or this AAP government, by the manner, the confrontationist manner in which it has functioned, disrespecting the current legal position, they have only weakened the case for giving more statehood to Delhi. Of course, complete statehood cannot be given to Delhi, but certainly there is a good case for giving more statehood to Delhi.
Okay.
But that case has been weakened by the antics and the constant confrontational attitude of Arvind Kejriwal, who refuses to recognize the present legal and constitutional position.
Okay, Prashant, you know, one of the points which was raised by the Aam Aadmi Party government with the High Court, and you know, when it went to the Supreme Court also on this matter, was that under Article 131, these matters between the state and centre disputes can only be raised, you know, in the Supreme Court. Now that there is another petition which
that is between
yes, Mr. Bhatt.
Girish, you see, 131 applies where one side is a state and other side is a set of states or the union. Unfortunately, Delhi is not a state, so 131 is out at the, clearly not applicable to Delhi at all.
Okay.
There is
Manish.
no question about Delhi invoking Article 131.
Okay, Manish. So what is the position now? Now, you think that the other case in the Supreme Court, how far will the Aam Aadmi Party government be able to take it forward in the context of what both of them are saying?
You know, I think it's an
because you think that there is still some confusion left in the.
There is too much confusion left. You know, I'd like to make some brief points before I answer your question. The Aam Aadmi Party and Mr. Kejriwal.
I'll come to you, Mr. Bharti.
And Mr. Kejriwal, they knew what they were getting into when they contested elections,
right.
And which is that they were going to rule a union territory / a municipality, a glorified municipality. So they were always aware of the situation. They were aware of the constitutional position. Mr. Bharti knows about 239AA. So on that, I don't think there is any dispute that they know their powers. So it's all politics, and they are trying to assume or more control, get more powers from the center, which unfortunately for them is a very
it's not available in the constitution.
Yeah, it's not available in the constitution, and you know, till the parliament does something about it, it's not going to be available. Now, on the issue of what there's original suit which is pending in the Supreme Court, my view is that, you know, they don't have a ground to go in for that suit. The Supreme Court today has rightly, said that it will not hear that suit in a hurry because the Delhi government had already, gone to the High Court, and the High Court has decided an issue, and if they want to press these issues, they'll have to come in appeal on the Delhi High Court order so that both the things can be heard simultaneously.
Okay, so that is the position. Yes, Mr. Bharti. Mr. Bharti, what are the avenues available now? As far as after the order of the High Court, it's quite evident that the Delhi legislature, the Delhi Legislative Assembly, is some kind of a postman now, which will have to do something and pass it on to the Lieutenant Governor. If he accepts it, fine. If he doesn't accept it, then you don't have any other option.
Let me ask my learned panelists that anti-corruption branch was with the Delhi government for last 40 years. All of a sudden, when Honorable Modi ji became PM of the nation, in July 2014, on 23rd of July 2014, he by a notification withdrew the power of ACB from prosecuting, from letting it prosecute central government's employees. Was it just? And that was the starting point of the whole litigation process. Because ACB was available with the Delhi government. In fact, Shailja ji would like to, I would like her to enlighten us on this more. Because she talked about working in harmony.
Yes.
We were working completely in harmony. This was started by Modi government because they are the one who withdrew the power of ACB from letting it prosecute to prosecute central government employees.
But
what was the need?
Mr. Bharti,
and
one second.
That was the notification which had taken us to the High Court.
Mr. Bharti, 1 second.
That is one. Number two, 1 second, sir. 1 second.
No,
one second.
I have a small.
Let me just respond to it.
I have a small caveat, and you can continue after that. The High
Just
Court.
let me add. Let me add one line, sir.
Okay.
Just let me add one line.
Okay.
Just say one. See, ACB powers were curtailed primarily because Modi government did not want that Ambani gets prosecuted further. Modi government did not want
these are speculations,
get
sir.
prosecuted further.
These are speculations.
Modi government did not want the corrupt should get prosecuted.
Mr. Bharti,
because the harmony which BJP
Mr.
and Congress
Bharti,
talk of,
Mr.
the
Bharti,
harmony is of the kind where BJP corrupts are absolutely
Mr.
at
Bharti,
peace with the Congress regime.
No, Mr.
And
Bharti,
Congress
let us not
corrupts are at peace with the BJP regime.
No, let's not get
That's
into
the harmony people talk of.
No, let's not get into the political aspect of it, Mr. Shailja. ACB. What was the situation then? Has anything changed now?
ACB was headed by an additional commissioner of police appointed by the Lieutenant Governor. He reported by and large only to the Chief Secretary, and in case the Chief...
appointed by the Lieutenant Governor. Not by the Chief Minister.
No.
Never by the Chief Minister?
No, never by the Chief Minister. The files went from Home Department. A selection was made of people with integrity, and it was put up to the Lieutenant Governor who made the choice. Number two, whatever notification he's talking about, never ever has the ACB gone beyond the Delhi government in trying to look for corruption beyond the territory of Delhi government. Never have they gone...
Which included the officers working in the Delhi government.
In the government, yes.
Not outside the Delhi government.
No way. And certainly no ministry of the government and no one outside. So that being so, if a notification was issued precluding such action being taken, it became necessary, perhaps, I was not dealing with the matter, I certainly don't know, but it is obvious that if you start, if the union, the police and the anti-corruption, which is under the union government, maybe indirectly, but is still under the union government, starts taking action against the arms and legs of that very government, there will be chaos. So obviously such a notification became necessary.
Mr. Prashant, this aspect has been made clear. Before you split up with the Aam Aadmi Party government, you also had a particular stand as far as the ACB is concerned. Now that the High Court has made it clear, do you think that this is the right position? You agree with this position? Because you have taken a different position, if I remember earlier.
You see, in my view, The local police has the jurisdiction to investigate any crime which is committed within the territorial jurisdiction of the local police. That includes the crime of corruption. Now, the ACB is only a specialized police station created in Delhi, having jurisdiction over corruption offences in the whole of Delhi. Under the CRPC, such a police station would have jurisdiction to investigate corruption offences within Delhi. A notification which is issued which curtails the powers of the ACB, which means the curtails the powers of the local police under the Code of Criminal Procedure, which says that local police can investigate any offence committed within the local jurisdiction, in my view, is contrary to the Code of Criminal Procedure and therefore void. That, in my view, is the correct legal position.
So you don't agree with the High Court?
You
don't agree with the High Court's ruling on this?
On this, I don't agree, yes.
Okay. Mr. Bhatt? Mr. Bhatt, how do you look at this?
It doesn't matter. Anyway, the matter is going to be the Supreme Court. And as on today, what the Delhi High Court has said is the law. There is no point in, because I don't have the judgment and I don't have all the facts relating to the ACB. Therefore, I cannot express an opinion giving what my friend Mr. Prashant Bhushan has said. He may be right, he may be wrong. But then in any case, it is of a comparatively trivial nature. The whole thing in Delhi, the problem was that Kejriwal wanted to promise much bigger things they can deliver and wanted to find an alibi. And that, I think, has been set to rest as far as presently, because now
set to rest
until the Supreme Court decides. And after the Supreme Court decides, they may say that until the Supreme Court decides, and after that they can say, and we all know what the Supreme Court is likely to decide.
No, we'll wait for that.
Let us not. That we want an agitation in Delhi to have full.
Anyway, we will. Anyway, sir, let us not presume. Let's not presume what the Supreme Court says. Yes, Manish.
Yeah, having said what I did say, what I said earlier, one should always also remember that Kejriwal, is doing all what he's doing because he has a very adversarial center to deal with. When Ms. Chandra talks about the previous governments, never have we seen the center coming after a state government in such a manner. And, on the issue of the original suit which is pending in the Supreme Court, I think in a democratic setup, the courts have always, gone a step ahead and sort of, cleared the air whenever there are grey areas in the constitution. For example, in Delhi also, there are too many issues, too many grey areas which need to be clarified so that in future such problems don't arise. This is an opportunity for the court, the Supreme Court, which possibly through a constitution bench, to decide once and for all what are the powers of the state government in a situation.
And that's what the petition is about.
Yes.
To make that clarification. Yes. Somnath Bharti, what are these grey areas according to you, according to your government? You are a lawyer yourself. What are these grey areas you think the Supreme Court needs to address?
Girishji, first of all, I would like to just comment a little on the Mr. Bhatt, my senior, what he suggested about the work which the Kejriwal government is doing.
No, let us not get...
In spite of all hardships, in spite of all opposition obstruction being put by the centre, I'm just coming to that.
No, but we are not discussing that.
Almost 1,000 Mohalla clinics will be set up by the end of December.
Mr. Bharti, that is not the issue today.
8,000 classrooms have been added. Thousands of crores have been saved in corruption.
Mr. Bharti, we will discuss all these things separately.
We have been doing anyway the work.
This is not the issue today.
But the question is, the grey area which Girishji was talking about.
Yes, please tell me.
1 second.
Yes.
See, Girishji,
yes.
Before Honorable High Court, the writ petitions which have been decided, one writ petition was on this power of ACB, which was curtailed by the notification. Second writ petition was, 3 more writ petitions were on commissions of inquiry.
Right.
Now, what are those commissions of inquiry? One was to discuss and investigate DDCA scam,
Right.
in which Mr. Arun Jaitley is being accused.
Yes.
Another was CNG fitness scam,
Right.
in which Mr. Honorable LG himself was an accused. See, question is, unfortunately, the kind of harmony which BJP and Congress have been into, they cannot expect from us. We will investigate irrespective of whosoever, however mighty the person might be. That has been the point of conflict, and that is the starting conflicting point, and which BJP and Congress and possibly all vested interest does not want us to get into. But irrespective of the position and the obstruction which these people have been putting in our way, we have done enough in a year and a half.
No, Mr. Bharti,
for the
sorry.
people of Delhi.
No, you're not
people
addressing.
Of Delhi are happy.
You're not addressing my
Problem
question,
is
sir.
the vested interests are not being happy.
No, you're not addressing. You're not addressing my question of what you think are the grey areas which the Supreme Court needs to address. Let me get to Mr. Prashant Bhushan. Prashant, what are these grey areas which Manish thinks there are grey areas. Would you agree that there are still grey areas which needs to be addressed by the Supreme Court?
No, I think by and large the High Court judgment is absolutely correct. The only issue on which, in my view, it may not be correct is this issue of ACB being disabled from investigating corruption. See, ACB can be controlled by the central government through the LG, that's all right. But that does not mean that the local police of Delhi cannot investigate offences, corruption offences which take place within Delhi. So, other than that, I think by and large the High Court judgment is absolutely correct.
Okay.
And there is not much that the Supreme Court will do or will be able to do to differ with this judgment.
Okay. Okay.
This is,
as far as
in
the
my view,
Prashant,
what is likely to happen.
Prashant, as far as after this
May I
judgment,
just add, Girishji, one line to this?
yeah, please.
Girishji, if I remember, because learned advocates are all sitting here, in the constitutional debates, I think in the second draft, what was the position that governors should also come elected? That was dropped in the third draft.
Anyway,
Because
that is a larger issue, sir.
Was if the governors also come elected.
No, that is a larger
and the CMs
issue.
also come
I don't
elected.
think.
There will be two power centers.
No, I don't think that can be
And
addressed
it
in this context.
This is what happening.
No, I
If
agree.
Honorable High Court says that LG is going to be the head of Delhi,
I agree that it's
where
a,
there is
it's
an
a
elected
separate
government.
I agree.
How
It's a separate.
can this democracy will be properly addressed?
I agree. That's a point to be noted. Shalja Chandra, the officer. So the Delhi government has no control over which officer is posted where. Has never had any.
It has had plenty of control. All the official postings, transfers up to Group B, which is the bulk, are done up to Chief Minister's level. Super time scale is Joint Secretary to Government of India level and up, which is really not a very sizable number.
But they are the most important.
Even if they're the most important, what usually happens is that the Chief Minister would want to make changes. The Chief Minister sends for the Chief Secretary and said, I want to make these changes. Normally, the Chief Secretary would say, because of this background, I'd suggest you don't do this or you do this. He may agree, she may agree, may not. Ultimately, she says, please get this done. Right? You go to the Lieutenant Governor. I used to go on a weekly basis and say, these are the kind of changes that the Chief Minister wants. 99% he would agree if you gave a rationale for it.
Okay. I think, the essence of it is that harmonious relationship between the two governments, which has not existed as far as this in the present situation. We don't know when it will exist, but we'll wait and watch what the Supreme Court has to say on this. Thanks to all my guests. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another issue, the big picture, same time.